Hi, everybody. Erica here from In the Company of Cards. Happy Friday. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So there's maybe like four or so issues that I thought I would look at today. Thank you in advance for all your likes, your shares, your hypes, your comments. I read all of the comments and I appreciate every single one of them. Stay tuned also for an announcement at the end. The announcement has to do with what I'm going to do on Sunday. So, okay. Um, I think the first thing that I want to look at is this Artemis 2 splashdown. That's the space uh, mission, and they're meant to splash down in like 40 minutes from now. There is a chance that uh, there, what is that? I don't know. Hold on. Uh, there is I don't know, a heat shield kind of thing that has a flaw in it that could be problematic upon re-entry. And so I just want to just see how that splashdown will go. It'll be in 40 minutes, so you'll know whether I'm right or wrong in 40 minutes. And of course, because Lenormand does not have any spaceship card, I'm going to use the ship because the ship stands for any kind of conveyance, right? So we're going to look at the ship and just see whether the Artemis 2 will have a safe re-entry into our atmosphere in 40 minutes. Okay. So again, we're looking for the ship that will stand for that spacecraft Artemis 2. Okay, so here's the spacecraft. Okay, so we have the young man, we have the sun, we have the ship that stands for the craft, we have the letter, and we have birds. So I'm going to just say, because we have the sun here, that everything is going to be fine. These are intrepid astronauts. I mean, wouldn't be me up there. So they are brave and intrepid. They are well taken care of by NASA, who have given them whatever training and instructions they need, given this issue, this heat shield issue. Um, I think there is a plan in motion so that everything will go okay. So I think it'll be fine. I think they will be safely on terra firma or at least in the water. By the way, they're going to be landing near where I am, near San Diego. So that's very cool. So they're going to be fine. Speaking of the welfare of people and things, I really want to look at um, the welfare, the health and welfare, the continued health and welfare of Amanda Ungaro. If you don't know who Amanda Ungaro is, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. So remember when Melania came out and gave her little speech behind a presidential seal? She's not supposed to have done that, but okay. Remember, I talked about that yesterday in yesterday's video. And come to find out, um, one of the bees in uh, Melania's bonnet has been the contention that uh, Epstein is the one who introduced her to the felon all those years ago. She has said over and over that that's not true. In fact, she said that they were introduced by someone named Paolo Zampolli, Campolli, Paolo Zampolli. Paolo Zampolli was big in the modeling field back in the day when, Melania was a model. And he apparently, according to Melania, and according to the felon, is the one who introduced the felon and Melania. Okay. Why does it matter? First of all, they were all in the same circles. So why this I don't know, this splitting of hairs thing about who introduced whom to who? Well, I alluded to it last night when I said that not only was word on the street that Epstein had introduced them, but word on the street was that Melania had dated Epstein before she was handed off to the felon. And of course, that, Melania doesn't want that known. And again, allegedly, who knows? Anyway, who's Amanda Ungaro and why should we be concerned about her welfare? So, around the time that the felon and Melania got together, regardless of who got them together, um, Paolo Zampoli, who supposedly, according to Melania, introduced them, met someone that he was going to be involved in. She was 17 at the time. This is Amanda, okay? Amanda Ungaro. Amanda is Brazilian. So she was 17 at the time. We don't know, we don't have any evidence that they were actually formally married, but they were together for a considerable time. I mean, a long time. And they have a child together who is currently a teenager. This is a boy. And Ungaro left Paolo back in, I think, 2021. And they have since been engaged in a custody battle for the son. So, Paolo Zampoli, the erstwhile modeling guy, he had a modeling agency or whatever. Anyway, he now is has a position in the administration. He's kind of like somebody who goes to parties and events and openings and things on behalf of the United States. That's his job job. Okay, whatever. He and the felon go way back. And the Paolo Zampoli one day decided to report his, we'll call her his common law wife, Amanda, to ICE and asked that she be deported back to her home country, which is Brazil. And that's what happened. She was in ICE custody and then they deported her. So the son, of course, is still here. So I guess Paolo Zampoli, solved his custody issue, right? In a really kind of slimy way. Well, Amanda Ungaro now is in her home country of Brazil without her child and seething mad. So I don't know how, I think it was maybe the day before Melania came out yesterday with her statement. Amanda wrote uh, a like a post. I think it was a post, basically threatening to spill all the beans and reminding Melania that she had quite a few beans to spill. And we think now that that is the reason that Melania came out and answered a question that nobody asked her in that press conference. I've heard people speculate that it's the Andrew Lowney book on the Yorks. That book is been out for a while, so that's nothing new actually. Um, And there was information about Melania in that book. The first 30,000 copies have that information, but then because of course she sued, that chapter was removed. But I mean, that we've known about that for a few weeks now. That's not it. I think it is Amanda Ungaro saying, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. She referred to Melania as the B word, said something like, don't play with me, B. But she said the actual word, female dog. And I mean, she also said, I have nothing to lose. If it's the last thing I do on earth, I will bring all of you down. And she's talking about this whole Epstein structure, which of course is way bigger than Epstein, right? So my first question is she safe? People do things like they fall downstairs, they hang themselves, they end up outside windows, they end up somehow unalived under uh, there seems to be a certain set of circumstances where that happens. And so I just want to know whether she is safe. So if she was 17 back then, she's certainly not 17 now. But we'll do her a solid and let her be the young woman in the deck. She's certainly she's younger than Melania, so we will let her be the young woman in the deck, even though she's old enough to have a teenage son. But still, we're going to be nice because we're on her side. Okay, is she safe? I mean, it's a serious question, and I am concerned for her welfare. Okay, I think that her her whatever she put out on social media, threatening to release what she knew, I think that was the catalyst for Melania coming out. Okay. And of course, Melania did herself more harm than good by coming out, but that's another story. All right, we're looking for the young woman that will stand for Amanda Ungaro. Here she is. I don't know if you heard my little groan at the end there. Okay. So we have birds, tower. This is Amanda Ungaro. I think this is Paolo Zampoli. And then we have the house. So, and he is much older than she is. So there have been conversations, there have been discussions in the White House, amongst White House circles, about what to do with her, for sure. Um, the Tower is the second card. I think she feels alone. I think she was speaking honestly when she said, I have nothing to lose. They thought they were isolating her by sending her, or Paolo thought so, by sending her back to Brazil. But Brazil is part of the modern world, and you don't solve a problem in a 20th century way when we live in a 21st century world. Um, he thought he got rid of her. Thought he got rid of her, but obviously not. And so now there's these conversations going on. So now let's go vertically. So these are the conversations that are happening. Clarifiers are the star, the mountain, and the bear. So the conversations are about the future of this presidency. Um, and they feel like they need to stop her. And remember, this is the card for the bully by any means they can. I mean, they've already used means against her. All Zampoli did was pick up the phone, call somebody at ICE, say, I'm so and so, I'm a friend of such and such, and I'm in the administration, and my baby mama has overstayed her visa. That's what he did. He strong-armed her um, and got her deported and away from her son. So he thought he had dealt with her. The second card, remember, is the tower. This is, a card of isolation. But the clarifiers are the stork, the key, and the moon. And Amanda probably said, wait, we are in the 21st century world. I am not going to stay isolated. I'm going to improve things for myself. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come out and say, here I am, and this is what I know. Remember, this is the card for identity, reputation, all of that. And she holds the key to the reputations of all of the players, the felon, his wife, and everybody else. So here's Amanda in the center, and the clarifiers are the rider, the clover, and the ship. So Amanda wanted to send a message. Now, was she hasty in the way that she did it? Yeah. I mean, you can tell from the words that she says in her post that she's really angry. Like the language, she's angry. But she decided to go ahead with it anyway, figuring she has nothing to lose except her life. I mean, and that's not a throwaway line because look what happens to so many people in that circle. Here we have what's the guy's name again? Zampoli. And the clarifiers are the book, the sun, and the garden. I think this is not just Zampoli. I think this is also the felon. And I think that Amanda Ungaro blindsided them both. I remember that this card came up last night when I was looking at the Melania question, and I think they both got blindsided by this. This is about things that are hidden. And so she was hidden until she wasn't hidden. But she's also saying, I know a lot of stuff that the public doesn't know, and I am going to make it public. You can't get any more clarity than this. This is the public, and this is bringing something to light. So the concern is that she will bring something to light, not so much about Zampoli, but about the felon and, of course, Melania. Fifth card is the house. This is the White House. Clarifiers are the dog, the ring, and then this is where I groaned when I saw this card, the scythe. I don't like this for her. Uh, the White House has friends everywhere. Friends, fixers, um, you know, cleanup people who are committed to the cause being the felon. And this is scary here. Um, I can mirror it with the very first card, which is the birds. I think there's talk about how to um, make her permanently quiet. I'm just going to say so. I'm not making light of this, but we all know what Whoopi Goldberg would say. You in danger, girl. I can't imagine that she's not aware of that. I hope she's taken precautions. I know when she came out and made her statement, it was from it was impetuous. Like I think she woke up one morning and said, basta, I've had enough of this and these people, and I'm going to do this now. Um, she wanted to take them by surprise. She did, um, to the point where Melania felt like she had to come out, like I said, and protest too much, to quote Shakespeare. Uh, deny things that nobody had questioned her on in the first place. So, when you protest too much, it means you have something to hide, allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only. So I am worried about Amanda Ungaro. I think we should all um, try to circle her in white light protection, and hopefully she has protection of other types, like armed bodyguards, um, good friends, uh, hiding places, because I don't like that scythe at the end of that line. Okay. Um, I think I also want to look at, let's go abroad for a minute. I want to look at Hungary's presidential election. It will be on Sunday, which is the 12th, I think, yeah. And why do we care about Hungary's election? Well, the person running is a despot. He is cut from the same cloth as the felon. His name is Viktor Orban. You may have heard of him. And we know that the felon had J.D. Vance go to Hungary and do a rally for Orban. Orban is also supported by Putin. So, why all of this flurry of support for Viktor Orban is because it looks like he might lose this election. Now, I don't know who thought that sending JD out there, down there, would, improve his chances of winning. But anyway, that was our government's response, was to send JD there to sort of bolster up um, Viktor Orban. So I guess I want to look for Viktor Orban. I'll use the older man card for Viktor Orban, and I want to know, how will he do in the election? How will he do in the election? Of course, if he loses the election, that's very bad for the felon. If he wins, well, it's just more of what we've been enduring around the world, right? Um, but they put their money on Viktor Orban, and let's see whether it pays off. Okay. So we're looking for the older man. That will stand for Viktor Orban. The election will be Sunday, so you'll be able to check my work. Okay. Cross, coffin, Viktor Orban, garden, man. So if you followed me for any amount of time, you can probably guess what I'm going to say. This is not good for Viktor Orban. His career is over. Viktor Orban will lose the election. The public will choose a different sort, someone younger and, I suspect, more progressive, less of a dictator. They will not choose Viktor Orban. Now, again, I could be right, I could be wrong. I'm just reading cards, we'll see. But I think Viktor Orban will lose the election. he was already losing, but I do not think that having sent Vance over there to prop him up did any good at all. So, the world is over our administration. The world is. And so when somebody representing our um, administration or goes over there and says, "Yeah, this is the guy you should pick," pretty sure it's going to work the other way around. So I don't see him winning. So I think that the last thing that I want to look at before I make my announcement about Sunday is I'm sure you saw that the felon went on a tirade against four of his most long-term, ardent, rabid supporters. It's very interesting. The people that he went after, of course, are Tucker Carlson, who is very anti this war. So that's a point for Tucker. But there's a lot of speculation that he will want to run in the 28 race against J.D. Vance. So Tucker Carlson, um, Alex Jones, again, he was a rabid supporter of the felon. If you remember, Alex Jones lost everything, all his earthly possessions to a lawsuit filed by the families of the children who died at Sandy Hook, because Alex Jones swore up and down that they hadn't really died, that there had not been that massacre of those children. Of course, it did happen, and what a weirdo. But he has now come out and said that he thinks that the felon is possessed by demons, among other things. Okay. And then Megyn Kelly. Now, if you remember back in the day, way back when the felon first ran, and um, Megyn Kelly was on, I guess, Fox, and there was a debate, and she asked him a question about why he was attacking only Rosie O'Donnell. And he attacked Megyn Kelly in a really crass way, referring to blood coming out of every orifice. Um, it was just gross. And but don't ask me why. She also went on a crusade to say that Santa Claus was white, Jesus is white, everybody's white. She's one of those, types. Anyway, she has come out not in favor of some of what the felon is doing. And so now he is um, against her as well. And she was one of his biggest supporters. And then finally, the woman that I hate to love and love to hate, who is Candace Owens, who I think is very smart and very gifted, but kind of crazy. I mean, for every brilliant thing she says, she takes one step forward and three steps backward with some crazy thing that theory that she'll spout. At any rate, Candace Owens was a big supporter of the felon until she wasn't. And so the felon went on a tirade against her and these other three, Tucker, Megan, and Alex. And these four people have huge followings. I mean, their followers are in the millions. And so when he attacks them, he is, of course, attacking his own base. So I would like to know what will come of these attacks that the felon has launched against these four people. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I guess I'll use the older man card as the felon, and I want to know what effect his attacks on these four will have on his trajectory. So let's look at that. And then there is one more thing I want to look at before I make my announcement. So we're looking for the older man, which I'm sad to say will stand for the felon. And we're looking at him only in the context of these attacks on these four ultra right, you know, support, erstwhile used to be supporters of his, and how that's going to go for him. Okay, so here he is. We have the snake, we have the ship, we have the felon, we have the mountain, and we have the tree. So he has really created a problem for himself by doing this moving forward. He will have lost a lot of his base. Now, he's lost a lot of his base for a lot of reasons already, right? The war, not the least of the reasons. The war, the Epstein response, uh, now that the draft numbers will be automatic, people will be immediately enlisted in the roles to be drafted. I'm not saying there will be a draft, but he's done a lot of things: prices, tariffs, gas. Oh, so he's doing what he did with these four was really creating for himself a big problem. He's in the center, and now look, he's blocked. Blocked from what? From growing. That base is only going to shrink. It's not only going to shrink, it's going to shrivel because there's a mountain there that he created. So here he is, I'm going to tell those four what's what. Do, 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 boom. The ship hits a mountain and cannot proceed. So he has sort of he will wither on the vine, which leads me to my last question. I saw that Jamie Raskin introduced a motion to require the felon to take a real bona fide cognitive test, not the dog, cat, chicken, bird, TV one, but a real test, requiring it. I don't know where that will go, but I guess the question that I want to ask is, um, will the felon serve out his term? Uh, a lot of people who do this work have said that April will be the month of his undoing. It will be the Ides of April and not the Ides of March, if you know Shakespeare. It's the story of Caesar. Uh, some people will say it will be the fall. I personally have never seen him finishing his term out for whatever reason. But let's just look at that and let's just see, will he finish out his term? And I think I'm going to let Spirit pick all the cards. I don't want to pick a significator for that. So Spirit's going to pick all the cards. I want to know if the felon will complete his term. Okay. So I have the child, I have the birds, I have the bouquet, I have the tree, and I have the lily. And you know how I always say that time is mutable. meaning, and events are mutable, meaning things can shift and change. So I'm not getting an absolute certain answer, yes or no, but I am getting some information, which is the fact that here's the second card. People around him are talking. I don't know if you heard this. He just said that he's going to, when he leaves, give a blanket pardon to anyone who's ever come within 200 feet of the Oval Office. And why would you say that unless you were worried that people would defect? Because thinking that if they don't defect now, if they wait and they stay with you to the end, they could be in trouble when you leave and the next administration comes in. That's what it is. It's a panic move. So he knows that people are talking about him. And what are they saying? Well, that he is being petulant, irrational, like a kid, like a child. Um, the fourth card is the tree, and that's the card for health. The fifth card is the lily. One of the meanings of lily is an old man. His health is deteriorating rapidly. He is an old man, not in his mature mind. Not that he ever was, but you know what I mean. This is dementia, I feel like. Now, what's interesting is the center line because the card in the center is the bouquet. And I'm like, the bouquet? This is the card for an award, a reward, etc. And the clarify, it's the one card that I pulled clarifiers on because I'm like, wait, what does that have to do with anything? And the clarifiers are clover, clouds, and young women. Here's what I think. I think he will be incentivized to leave. Like, I don't think he'll be necessarily thrown out, but he'll be given some sort of incentive to leave fast. And I think part of it will have to do with what is currently still hidden about the Epstein files. I think the Epstein files will be the catalyst finally for a lot of people to say, you're too much of a distraction and now you're starting wars so that we don't talk about the Epstein files. You know what? Just go someplace, just leave. Um, I'm not sure what the reward would be. It could be something like, here's a bag of money. We know he would love that, right? It could be something like, if you leave, we won't prosecute you. Could be something like that. Um, If you leave, we won't pursue impeachment. You can use your health as an excuse. You can say, oh, my health's not good. I'm kind of old. I'm leaving anyway at the end of 28. So I just feel like I want to go earlier. Like we'll let you have that out, that base saving out. So yes, I think that things will escalate to such a fever pitch, not just the war, but also Epstein, which I have said to you from the beginning. Don't forget, this is not going away. Just when you think it's going to fade, it doesn't fade. It comes back even stronger. Melania did not help that cause of it going away. So I think he will be incentivized to leave early. That will be, on the one hand, by any means necessary. If he's going to be gone, that's great. We're happy. On the other hand, that's going to annoy a lot of people. Annoy is a mild word. The idea of him not facing consequences will feel not great, but he will be some kind of way incentivized to go early, and it will be blamed on his health. But really, it will be because the party cannot sustain his presence any longer. That's what I think. Okay, so I said I wanted to make an announcement. So last week, I was on Substack and I did personal readings for an hour. This Sunday, I'm going to come back to YouTube to this channel, and do a live, and it will be like it was the last time I did a live here. And so, not personal questions, but feel free to ask me any of your, national, international, cultural, racial, whatever questions that you'd like to ask about the events of the day, and I will try to answer them. Last time I did this, I had so much fun last time and the time before when I did it here on YouTube that I stayed for an hour and a half. So I will commit to an hour, but if you come and bring me good questions, I'll stay longer if my voice holds out. I'll make sure I have a big mug of hot tea so that my voice will stay, you know, functioning. So I'll put up the little thing for it so that you'll see. I'm thinking of doing it at uh, hmm, let's see, what time should I do it? I've been doing it at 4 p.m. That's where I did it here, and then also on um, when I did it on Substack, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I think I'm going to stay at that time. If there are times that you prefer, let me know, and I will try to accommodate in future moving forward. I'm not going to be doing this every week, but I feel like we are just needful of this, right? So I'm happy to help as I can. So I will be here at 4 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. Eastern. Uh, I had somebody say, "Well, I don't know what that means for me because I'm okay. If it's 7 p.m. Eastern, then it's 6 p.m. Central, then it's 5 p.m. Mountain, and 4 p.m. Pacific." Okay, so there you go. And that will be Sunday. Okay. And not personal stuff, because I only answer those now over on Substack. If you would like to subscribe to my Substack, it is free now to do that, although I appreciate when people financially support my work. I am not requiring that anymore over on Substack. So if you want to become a subscriber over there, that means that the next time I answer people's personal questions, I will only be answering subscriber questions, but it will be free to subscribe. And my Substack is called In the Company of Cards, just like this channel is. But anyway, I hope to see many of you here on Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain on Sunday, and I will answer the kind of questions that you see me looking at here normally, but these will be questions that you give me. All right. Listen, have a great Friday night and a great Saturday, and I'll see you on Sunday. Take care.